Hi, my name is Jake, and I am a bookish drummer. Welcome to day 15 of the Stephen Graham Jones month for June. And this is a collaborative effort by several booktubers, including myself. And this was all put together by Amanda from the Reading and Writing Life. Essentially, what we're doing is every day, a different booktuber will release a Stephen Graham Jones book review or short story review. I already did my first one, I think it was day 5. I reviewed The Last Final Girl, which I will link down below, along with the playlist for everyone else's reviews. So if you haven't gone back and watched all of them, I'll leave the playlist for you and you can go do so. But for today, I believe this is day 15, I have to review for y'all 3 Miles Past, which is a novella collection by Stephen Graham Jones. And if you've seen my previous Stephen Graham Jones review, you know how much that I love his writing and I love reading his stuff. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into the review. So like I previously stated, 3 Miles Past is a novella collection from Stephen Graham Jones. It contains 3 novellas, all of which I like in varying degrees. And normally when I go into Stephen Graham Jones works, I'd like to go in knowing as little as possible, but what I will do for y'all is read the back of the book. 3 Miles Past. There are lines that probably shouldn't be crossed, doors that should stay shut, thoughts that shouldn't be considered. In these 3 novellas by Stephen Graham Jones, the dead talk, ancient evil opens its eyes, and that guy across the parking lot, he's watching you, and has been for a while now. Lock the door, tell yourself it's nothing, turn the radio up, it won't matter. You're already 3 miles past where you meant to stop. I've mentioned before in some of my past videos that one of the reasons why Stephen Graham Jones is quickly becoming one of my favorite authors is that he's able to write in multiple formats, meaning that he can write compelling novels, compelling short stories, and definitely compelling novellas. And probably one of my favorite novellas by him is just like probably my favorite Stephen Graham short story overall, which is Night of the Mannequins, which I would give about 5 stars. Terrific story. None of the novellas in here are quite as good as that one, but there is one standout one at the very end. But like I said, there's 3 novellas in here, and I like them in varying degrees. And like I said, there's 3 of them. The first one I like the least amount, even though I would say it's still written well. And of course, it's called Interstate Love Affair. And when I first read that title, I had the inkling that he was alluding to a Stone Temple Pilots song, which is one of my favorite bands, Interstate Love Song. And I was pleasantly surprised when I read the back of the book where he talks about Interstate Love Affair, that he did mention that. And I was like, yes, I knew it. But anyway, on to the actual story. I won't go into too much detail about the first story, but essentially what you deal with in an Interstate Love Affair is roadkill and a lot of like just disgusting animal gore and animal weirdness. Is one of the rare Stephen Graham Jones stories that actually got to me. Like I'm not normally grossed out by stuff that goes on in his books, even though they are like pretty gross. A lot of the times I'll just laugh it off. But for this one, for some strange reason, it really got to me. I was just like, oh. So I didn't really like, even though it was good, I didn't necessarily enjoy the actual reading of it just because I did find it a bit nasty. But it was still pretty good. I would give that novella like 3 stars. I think it's a lot of people's favorite in here, but for me, we'll talk about that one later on. But yeah, it's pretty good. I would give it 3 stars. And then the second story in here is No Takebacks. This is like the middle novella. And for me, it's kind of in the middle of my rankings. So like I said, the first story was like 3 stars. This second one, I would give like 4 stars. I really enjoyed the characters and I really enjoyed the pacing. It's the shortest novella in here. It's about 50 pages. And I really don't want to give too much away for it because it's already short enough. I really don't want to like say too much about it. But I really, like I said, I really did enjoy the characters and the pacing. It just didn't really wow me like the last one in here did. But it did have some really good moments. The last novella in this collection, and my true love for this collection, comes with the final novella, the third and final novella, The Coming of Night. This novella I would give 5 stars, and this is like the level of weirdness that I love with Stephen Graham Jones, where you can take a really weird, really nasty story and make it very dark, but also kind of comical, because like the things that go on in this novella are just outrageous and very gross, but also kind of funny in like a weird dark humor kind of way. That's like my chef's kiss with Stephen Graham Jones. That's exactly how Night of the Mannequins was for me. That one was like just very dark humor. Same thing with the third and final one, The Coming of Night. Again, I really this is probably not a great review because I'm saying, oh, I don't want to say too much about it, but really, especially with novellas, because they're already so short, you really don't want to go into these stories knowing much about them. But yeah, I if you really like gross stuff, I would highly recommend this collection just because the first and the third one are dealing with some gross stuff. The second one, not so much. I think that one's more kind of straightforward. But yeah, the third one in this collection, The Coming of Night, is just so good. It's so good. One of my favorite Stephen Graham Jones stories ever. I also forgot to mention that the third story in here is also written in second person. So it's an added extra of weird because it's all the whole story is like you do this, you do that instead of like I or he or she. It's in you. So yeah, the second person just adds another layer of just weirdness, and I love it for that reason. But yeah, overall, let's do some book math. So 3 novellas. The first one I would give 3 stars. The second one I would give 4 stars. And the third one being my favorite, I would give 5 stars. So combine those, divide by 3. I would give this collection 4 stars. Definitely worth checking out if you're already a Stephen Graham Jones fan and you know whether or not you like his writing, especially like his more weird stuff, like his weird side. I would definitely check this out if you're into that. I wouldn't say this is a great place to start, but I would say if you're an experienced Stephen Graham Jones fan, definitely give this book a shot. It's definitely worth it. And yeah, like I said, he's quickly becoming one of my favorite writers just because like he writes great novels and he occasionally writes great short stories. But man, with novellas, he's pretty consistent, and that's what I look for in writers. Like George R. R. Martin and Stephen King are my 2 favorite writers because they can kind of do it all, right? Stephen Graham Jones is turning into one of those guys for me. So yeah, I love Stephen Graham Jones, and this is a pretty damn good novella collection. All right, so that concludes day 15 of Stephen Graham Jones with my review of 3 Miles Past. And now for tomorrow, day 16, I'll pass it over to Josephina, who is reviewing The Backbone of the World, which I've never heard of, but she's read it and she's done her review for it, so I can't wait to watch that and to see what that's about. I don't know, but yeah, definitely go check that out. And I will, of course, have my past video for the Stephen Graham Jones playlist, and of course, just the playlist where you can go check out all of the great YouTubers that have participated in the Stephen Graham Jones month. And also, please let me know if you've read this book and what you thought about it, whether you loved it or whether you hated it, or whether you thought it was kind of meh. Either way, leave all of those great comments down in the comments below. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my YouTube channel, The Bookish Drummer, and go check out Bookish Drummer Discord if you'd like to do so. And check out my Patreon page if you'd like to support me financially. Yeah, go check all of that stuff out, and thank you guys so much for watching and have a terrific day.